comprehensive plan proposal. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. We've got a second from trustee Eckert. Any other questions or discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed. That motion also carries 7-0. Thank you, everyone, for the great discussion. Okay, item number 9A this evening is Resolution 25013 to comply with requirements for the wastewater compliance maintenance program. Director Smits, if you would.
All right, thank you. Annually, the village submits a sanitary sewer report to the DNR. It just outlines and makes sure that we're measuring up to our objections for the year. Thanks to Katie for helping us this year. I think it was her first time on doing the CMAR with us. So between her and our utility staff, they take a large part of what gets submitted to the DNR. You'll see that we scored fairly well again this year, both in financial and the operational aspect of the utility. And tonight we'd be looking for a approval of resolution 25013 complying with the requirements of the CMAR report.
Has everybody had a chance to review the maintenance report?
I believe that you did well, but why don't I see results?
It doesn't until you actually click submit and with the resolution number. You can only submit it once, but
You got a good grade.
it's, yeah, we're good.
Cool.
Before I
No
make,
less than the previous years.
Trust them.
before I make the motion to approve this resolution, are we able to track the hours? I know I brought this up before, but are we able to track the hours that the village staff spends fulfilling state and county requirements that are placed upon us?
We could. It just would be challenging because we work on, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there.
Is it, so it
Months
would be
previously,
burdensome?
just, it's not terrible. I mean,
Alright.
it takes some time, not, you know, it's not that we don't spend some time on it, but
Every time I see these, I just think about the fact
Yeah.
that our tax dollars are going to this and that and the other thing that's demanded to us or from us from another agency. And I
There's a
just
lot-
want
a
to
lot
be
of
able to quantify it, you know, so I can, anyway, all right. So I'd be happy to make the motion that we approve resolution 25013 complying with requirements of 2024 compliance maintenance annual report.
Very good. Trustee Romas has offered a motion to approve Resolution 25013 as stated. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second from trustee Andrews. Any other further questions or discussion on this item? Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor, this is a roll call, please.
Trustee Andrews.
Aye.
Trustee Eckert.
Aye.
Trustee Neto.
Aye.
Trustee McKeefery. Aye. Trustee Romas.
Aye.
Trustee Stevens.
Aye.
President Van Rossum.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, 7-0. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Okay, item 9B, Resolution 25014, declaring official intent to reimburse expenditures from proceeds of borrowing. Director Smits, once again.
thank you. The village plans to utilize the DNR's Safe Drinking Water Loan Program for the village's Well Number 5 project. This loan offers reduced interest rates and potentially some principal forgiveness for those that qualify. The application deadline is June 30th of the preceding year for the qualifying projects. There are conditions of the application that the village would be agreeing to, but this loan is used all across the state for projects just like a new well and storage system. I have attached some information from the DNR's website as it relates to the loan program. The village board needs to adopt a resolution acknowledging our commitment to the loan application and the conditions that go with it. I have attached resolution 25014 for adoption that outlines the conditions of the loan. Just attach the website information that you can find in the DNR's Safe Drinking Water Loan Program and the resolution with the conditions. It's just basically saying that we agree, you know, to those conditions and that we will pay back the necessary funding or pay the funding up front before the whole project gets underway and the loan kicks in.
So those sections, those are the strings that are attached?
I wouldn't
If you
really
wanna-
say there's strings.
Not
They're more
necessarily.
conditions than strings, and, they'd be what we'd be agreeing to.
Are they strings? Are there
No.
strings? Okay.
There's
And-
no better way to, I don't believe, to finance
Yeah.
a project like this.
And the way it's unavailable, let's see, long-term funds, and it almost sounds here like you can't, I mean, you can use impact fees and, okay, so.
Absolutely. And those would be the way we plan to finance the project, ahead of the loan, which is what we would be using. We're going to use up our impact fees, before this loan would even take place
Okay. And during?
and during.
Yeah, so this loan really just replaces doing a revenue bond. So it's just another form of financing that has lower interest rates.
Okay,
So I think typically it's probably a good like 2.5% lower than market rate. So if there's funding available through this program, it's good to go through and utilize.
sounds good.
And also keep in mind that it's not guaranteed, so there's a certain dollar amount that the state has available to fund these types of projects. And you may recall, I talked about it in a weekly update about asking the state to increase that threshold that the state can borrow money to then fund this project. Well, this is exactly related to that funding source. So we're hoping that with the state finance committee has approved and increased that amount, that the full state budget will adopt that new number, and there'll be plenty of funds available for us to tap into this.
Has joint finance already approved an increase in this program?
They did, but it's just a recommendation, so they're just the
Right, it's
committee.
got to go to the full.
But it's a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's huge. Joint finance is moving it forward.
So it is possible we do not get this funding, and if that happens, then we go to a revenue bond.
Understood. But this is the better choice of the two because the interest rate advantage.
Right.
So call your legislators.
Correct.
Other questions?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 25014, a resolution declaring official intent to reimburse expenditures from proceeds of borrowing.
Thank you. Trustee Andrews has offered a motion to approve Resolution 25014, declaring the official intent to reimburse expenditures from proceeds of borrowing. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second from Trustee Neto. Any other questions or discussion on this particular item? And we'll do a roll call as well.
Absolutely. Trustee Eckert.
Aye.
Trustee Neto.
Aye.
Trustee McKeefery. Aye. Trustee Romas.
Aye.
Trustee Stevens.
Aye.
Trustee Andrews.
Aye.
President Van Rossum.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, 7-0. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item 9C this evening is an expenditure for the Simplex 4010 ES fire alarm panel repair using funds from the Building Maintenance Sinking Fund. Director Smits, I remember this phone call. It was expensive, wasn't it?
Yep, it was not cheap, unexpected. So our fire alarm panel here that's located in our lower level has recently kind of died. We were trying to limp it along for as long as possible, but just wouldn't make it anymore. Fixing it was challenging, parts were obsolete, was no support with the equipment anymore, so we kind of had no choice but to move on to a newer model. We reached out to Johnson Controls for a quote. I reached out to a couple other companies also, but when you have Johnson Controls equipment, you're kind of stuck with them until you switch over your entire building, meaning all the alarms and detectors and everything that goes with it. So it was cheapest to move forward with the $11,132.10 as opposed to like a $30,000, $40,000, or $50,000 complete switch over at this time. It seemed like the Simplex 410 ES system had good reviews. It was very user-friendly for us when we go through all of our testing and alarms monitoring throughout the year. So we went with the 410 system, and so far so good. It is up and running, and we are able to monitor the building. I would be looking for a motion to approve the ratification of the expenditure for the Simplex 410 ES fire alarm panel.
All right, are there any questions for Director Smits on this item? Kind of like one of those you got to have.
I'd be happy to make the motion to approve the ratification of the expenditure for the Simplex 4010 ES fire alarm panel using the funds from the Building Maintenance Sinking Fund for $11,132.10.
Trustee Romas has offered a motion to approve the expenditure of $11,132.10 for replacement of the ES fire alarm panel system. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second from Trustee Andrews this evening. All right, looking for any other last-minute comments or questions?
Thank you for getting multiple bids.
Yep, thank you.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Neto.
Aye.
Trustee McKeefery. Aye. Trustee Romas.
Aye.
Trustee Stevens.
Aye.
Trustee Andrews.
Aye.
Trustee Eckert.
Aye.
President Van Rossum.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, 7-0. Thank you.
All right, we are on to item 9D this evening, which is a memorandum of ground lease agreement and ground lease agreement with AT&T. Director Smits.
All right, thank you. AT&T is proposing to install a generator at our existing water tower site located at 1877 Pride Terrace. The use of the site that they are proposing is outside the coverage under the current lease that they have with us. They are requesting a new lease for additional land space to accommodate this generator. The additional lease area required for this project is about 109 square feet, so about 8 by 14 in surface area. AT&T has agreed to cover all costs and fees associated to this project, along with our village attorney fees for review. I've attached the memorandum of ground lease agreement, the ground lease agreement, and just a quick overview of the site so you can kind of see where it is in relationship to the tower. Our village attorney has reviewed the agreement and the lease. They have approved both of them. The monthly fee that was agreed upon for the additional land lease is set to be $325 per month, increasing 3% annually. We'd be looking for a motion to approve the signing of the memorandum of ground lease agreement and the ground lease agreement.
Is the leaser the Village of Suamico or the water utility?
I believe it's the village. It is the-
Water utility.
Yeah, it's the village
So
of
the water
Suamico
utility gets the income?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's an increase to a current lease of 325?
Correct.
Okay.
And then I think it would, it's on the same, it'll be on the same lease cycle too, for the same contract date of it.
So how much were they paying before?
There was, well, they didn't have to have a generator before. So I don't know what.
This is not for on the tower, this is next or adjacent to
This
the
is
tower,
a new
on the
addition.
ground.
We have a lease with them for our tower space, for their equipment that's up on the bowl or just below the bowl of the tower. But this would be additional land space on the ground now to support the generator.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think Joe's gonna speak up of why they've went down this road.
Yeah, so actually, police and fire asked for this generator. This not only benefits us, but it also benefits all their users. But our computers in both the squad cars and the fire trucks uses their network for, it's called the CAD system, so for the computer system. So we had a couple storms last year, over the past few years, where that tower went down, there was no backup generator to their cell site, and we are unable to communicate with dispatch with that. So we still have the portable radios, but our computers were not able to communicate with dispatch. So it, especially in a high, like when there's a storm, there's a lot of high traffic on the radio, we use the computers a lot more, and not having that really hindered us, I guess. So this is something that, like I said, police and fire were asking for. Then when they approached the village about leasing the space, I told Andy and I was definitely trying to get this done, so. It is a public safety issue as well.
We requested to have a fence around it and everything, and like a slotted fence rather than just a see-through chain link, so it'll kind of be hidden behind the water tower there.
Okay.
Well, thanks. That's good income for the utility too.
And good safety. Good safety, too.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve the signing of the memorandum of ground lease agreement and the ground lease. Wait,
Thank you. Trustee McKeefer has offered a motion to approve the memorandum of ground lease agreement and the ground lease agreement itself.
I'll second that.
You scared me. That was a second for trustee Romas.
Sorry.
I have to put a bell on you, too. Anybody else with any other questions or comments? Steve's already got one coming.
No.
No, that's Steve. Hearing none, let's do a roll call, please.
Trustee McKeefery.
aye.
Trustee Romas.
Aye.
Trustee Stevens.
Aye.
Trustee Andrews.
Aye.
Trustee Eckert.
Aye.
Trustee Neto. President Van Rossum.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, 7-0. Thank you.
All right, this brings us to item number 10. Discussion on future agenda items. Who's got one? Anyone? You're all talked out tonight. Nobody's.
When's the next meeting? Is,
July 7th.
oh,
I will
okay.
not be here for that meeting.
As noted, trustee Romas, we will be a party of 6. Okay, no discussion on future agenda items, no future agenda items to add. Excellent. I would look for a motion to adjourn the evening.
Motion to adjourn.
Trustee Andrews has offered a motion to adjourn the evening's events. Is there a second?
Second.
And I have a second from trustee McKeefery. Anyone else with any parting comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning the evening's meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed. Motion carries 7-0. We are adjourned. Thank